This video introduces a short article on the history from the flood and asking a few little questions about the origin of writing, the issue of racism, and the fact that we have cavemen. If we go back to the idea of the flood, we realise that all of us come from one family, Noah's family. Therefore, the concept of superior or inferior races is simply unrealistic. It makes no sense. And therefore, racism isn't a matter of sentiment, it's a matter of reality. The second issue comes down to the issue of writing. Where do we get writing from? Well, historically, people thought writing in the 19th century was a recent invention because they were using an evolutionary mindset. However, when you actually look at writing, what we discover is it goes back right to the dawn of human history. Cuneiform and hieroglyphics were writing systems in the 19th century, the early part. They didn't realise that. What we probably have is writing was the byproduct of the Tower of Babel, that when God confused the world with the languages that he gave to people, he almost certainly would have given them writing systems. Evidence of that's probably the case is the fact that the oldest writings that we have are usually grammatically the most complex. So Latin is more complex than English, Greek, ancient Greek is more complex than Latin, and Sanskrit is even more complex. That's what you'd expect if these languages were created by God, as it were, fiat, at the time of the Tower of Babel, and they just simply get simpler and simpler as time goes by. People lose the ability to write, so you have societies that don't have written languages anymore, but almost certainly they would have had a written language. But if you don't have an education system, then writing goes out the window. You can create illiterate people within one generation, just don't teach them to read or write. And that explains cavemen as well. Cavemen are merely societies that have lost that infrastructure needed to pass on information. And when we come to the issue of Neanderthals and monkeys that may seem to be in some part of an evolutionary tree, what we tend to find is that these fossils are either humans or they're monkeys. There really is no missing link, and there are articles there to look at. So I think we can see that the ancient world supports the Bible as an accurate revelation from God. Thank you for listening.